We all have 24 hours in a day. Buckle up for this concept. How we manage those 24 hours is not about time management. It's about us management. To be successful entrepreneurs, we must continually grow in our understanding of how we efficiently use the 24 hours we have. So, welcome to Time Batching and Blocking, making the most with what you've got. Consider these productivity statistics. 1 in 8 telephone calls get repeated because something was forgotten. It almost always takes twice as long to complete a task as we originally thought it would take. 10 to 12 minutes invested in planning your day will save at least 2 hours of wasted time, effort throughout the day. A manager on average spends 3 hours a day on interruptions, especially if we work at home, right? 20% of the average workday is spent on crucial and important things, while 80% of the average workday is spent on things that have little or no value. It's estimated that a manager loses 1 hour a day on disorder, costing the business up to $4,000 a year if earning $35,000 a year, or $8,125 at $65,000 a year. So today, we determine these statistics are not part of our story. Though there are an endless number of tools, techniques, and strategies available to increase your productivity, time batching and blocking are two that I use, and I'm thrilled to show you how. Believe it or not, if you're choosing to watch this presentation, you probably are already skilled to some degree with time batching and blocking. Just the sheer fact that you are here today means that you are a hardworking, determined, ambitious, extraordinary woman. You are she. So first of all, I welcome you. I applaud you, and I thank you for using your precious time to lean in. So I'm going to make it worth it. For those who may not know me, allow me to introduce myself. I'm Imani J.M. Stokes. I am married to the love of my life and the proud mother of 5 beautiful girls. I work full-time for the Mount here in Stafford, Virginia, as the Global Volunteer Coordinator and a Kids Men Director. I am an author, speaker, and educator. I am the Director of Member Relations for She, See Her Execute. I am a daughter, a sister, and a friend. That's right. Just like you, we wear many hats. To add the greatest value and make your time count, today I have 3 goals. My first goal is to challenge you to level up by equipping you to move from one level to the next. Using the following strategies, if you are okay at managing your time, I want you to become good. If you're good, I want you to become great. If you're great, I want you to become excellent. If you are excellent at managing your time, teach someone to be excellent as well. Decide not to be one of those women who simply know more, but be determined to be one who does more with what she knows. My second goal is to explain the what, why, and how of time batching and blocking. Finally, I'm going to charge you to work with what you've got. Though both batching and blocking are time management systems, they focus on different operations. Here is the simple answer. Batching is when you combine together a set of similar tasks to complete at the same time for efficient processing. Blocking is a predetermined amount of time assigned to focus on one function. Batching focuses on tasks while blocking focuses on time. Let's take a closer look. Batching your time is a system of scheduling smaller, similar tasks to complete in and at a predetermined time. Batching similar tasks together allows you to accomplish and check off all identified tasks. Batching helps you avoid distractions, sharpens your focus, and increases your productivity while effectively managing your time. Why batch? Batching saves you time by eliminating multiple setup, prep, and teardown sessions. Research showed that people who batched their tasks increased their productivity by 60 to 80%. Batching allows you to polish your ability to focus by concentrating on a defined order of operations while eliminating distractions. Though you are working on several tasks, you don't have to slow down or lose time because you're batching similar tasks together. Every one of us are unique, and how batching and blocking are used by you is up to you. The first step is to determine what similar tasks or activities you can group together in order to complete at the same time. Depending on what hats you wear and how you want to wear them, will identify what similar tasks you actually have in order to batch together. In order to best apply this time management system, I've created the 5 steps of how to batch. Step 1, frequency. Step 2, combination. Step 3, schedule. Step 4, action. Step 5, accountability. Let's lean into each step. Step 1, in order to batch your tasks, you have to do the hard work of strategically planning your year. What do you want to accomplish this year in all aspects of your life? If you are wearing the most perfect hat representing your ideal self, what would it look like? A great next step would be to list all the hats you wear, similar to how I introduced myself. Who are you? Then, what does that part want to accomplish by the end of the year? What are your big goals? What do you have to do each quarter, month, week, and day to be that ideal person at the end of the year? Strategically plan those goals for yourself or schedule an appointment with our very own Shelley. She is a professional coach and strategic consultant, and she's excellent at it. Funnel those big goals into your quarterly list. From your quarterly list, place those goals into your monthly schedule. Here is when you begin to determine what you can combine together and accomplish on a monthly basis. Do the same for your weekly schedule and your daily to-do list. Did I lose you? Don't worry. There's a video coming. Step 2. Once you have determined frequency, combine similar tasks. What can you accomplish at the same time? You might be able to batch all your videos or podcasts during one shoot one time a month. Could you batch all forms of communication, emails and phone calls, either weekly or even at the same time each day? Based on your industry, what tasks would best serve you to combine? Here's a simple example of how batching works for me as a writer. Presently, I'm working on 3 books at the same time. When I type, I just go for it. If I think a certain place would be a great spot for a quote or story or study, I just add that one word in parentheses and I keep typing. I batch the research for those ideas once a week, and then I go back and I plug them all in once a month, and I do those at the same time. This is what works for me. You will need to determine what works for you based on your goal, task, and industry. Step 3, schedule them. Get your batch task on your schedule. It doesn't matter if you use a digital, hard copy, or both. Just schedule them. I schedule my batches 3 ways. I use my digital calendar on my phone so it's with me wherever I go. I use my hard copy day timer because but when we wear the many hats that we do, at times it can be difficult. Sorry. Just like you, my mama hat comes before my work and business hats. Please hear me when I say, give yourself grace. Grace, grace, and more grace. Remember, you created your schedule based on your ideal self and your desired outcomes. You will always, and in a world of you should never should on yourself and never use never and always, you will always fall short of your perfect ideal self. But you should absolutely be further along for having started the journey. Do the work. Remember, if you shoot for the moon, even if you fail, you will still be among the stars. You gotta shoot. Reschedule and reassign your batch tasks if necessary, but hold yourself accountable and do the work. Step 5, accountability. Hold yourself accountable to the batch tasks on your schedule. One of the most beautiful parts about She is our accountability partner, AP Component. Linda Galindo, author of The 85% Solution, How Personal Accountability Guarantees Success, says, accountability partners are an entrepreneur's secret weapon for quick growth. Hold yourself accountable and arm yourself with the extra layer of accountability and encouragement that your She AP can provide. Joe Motter, in his Productivity Hack article, recommended batching these following items. Email. Batch all your emails together and knock them out all in 1 hour. Blogging. Write multiple posts at one time. Then schedule using your blogging platform scheduling feature. Phone calls. Make a list of all the people you need to call and why. Batch schedule all the calls in one sitting. Cleaning. Group all similar chores together. Pick a day and knock them out all at one time. Shopping and errands. Save some gas and some time combining your shopping and errands in one journey. Cooking. Set aside a few hours not only to cook, but to prep meals or food for meals to use throughout the week. Podcasting or blogging. I know several people who get together for one day or one weekend to complete their whole podcast series for the year. Videos. This is a fantastic task to batch. All your videos be a YouTube channel at one time. You take the time, one time, to create your setting with the perfect lighting and sound. Then you simply change your shirt, your earrings, and lipstick in between each shoot. Social media. You can batch all aspects of your social media from creating, the uploading. Yay! Did you hear that? That is me cheering you on. If you've done the hard work of batching, the easy work of blocking is going to be a breeze. Let's lean in and take a closer look. Similar to time batching, blocking saves you time by allowing you to stay in the same mode of concentration and punctuality for a specific amount of time. However, the goal of batching and blocking are different. The aim of blocking is to stake boundaries around a block of time to work on something, not necessarily to complete it. With time blocking, you are moving the ball further down the field from where it was before. When the designated time is up, you move on. For some, there lies the rub. You want to get it finished, but that's not the goal with time blocking. No worries, I've got you covered. Stay tuned for the ingredient to the secret sauce. Again, you have already done all the hard work when you created your batching list. Blocking is all about scheduling. First things first, grab your hat list, all the hats that you wear, your strategic plan, and your calendar. Block out the necessary time to carry the ball further down the field. Determine when and for how long your blocks are and put them on your schedule. I recommend starting out with only adding 1 or 2 blocks a day or even a week. Live in it. Feel it. If it feels good and works for you, add more blocks each week, each day, and each month. Here are some examples of what to block. Of course, block your batches. Reading. Block out dedicated time for your personal reading, your quiet time, Bible reading, personal development reading. Block it out into daily or multiple time slots a week. Entertainment. Block out your fun and play time at the end of the day so you're more motivated to get the work done. Assignments. Try to do all your assignments or tasks for a specific project or client in one sitting. For me, I get up at 4 o'clock in the morning and I hang with my husband until he goes to work. Then I block out 2 hours each morning just to write. The writing assignments might be different, but the task of writing is the same. I only work on writing during these 2-hour blocks. Cleaning. Block your cleaning. Batch all your cleaning related chores into one block for a day or a week. Cooking. Whether you have cooking batches or not, you still need to eat, so block that time. Strategic thinking. Schedule time so you have an hour or 2 of uninterrupted thinking. You must dream and think before you can plan and do. Strategic planning. Depending on the type of strategic planning you're doing, you will need to block several hours or even days of dedicated time for yourself or to get together with the necessary people to plan for your business. And for me, the most important block, the makeup block. This is a buffer block that I add to my schedule just before I unplug for work. I complete or reschedule tasks that I didn't complete. Make sure that you schedule a makeup block. Remember when I talked about that secret ingredient? Well, here it is. Zone blocks. Batch and block according to your energy level or your zones. This is a very personal thing for each of us. So take the time to identify your zones and then batch your tasks and block your time according to your energy level. Zone blocks. Let's examine each one. Zone 1, high energy. This is when you schedule those blocks of time that require a lot of energy or a lot of effort in order to complete. For me, it would be running errands, physical chores, or even working out. My high energy zone is definitely in the morning. Zone 2, creative. When you are the most creative is when those creative juices are at boiling temperature. This is the time of day that you should allow yourself to really focus and really pour out all of those great ideas. If you are a morning person, do not wait until the last minute of your day to flush out the best way your presentation should work. Give yourself the advantage of putting those types of activities in your creative zone. Zone 3, mindless activities. This is when you block those batches of things that you can do while you're on autopilot. This may be the perfect time to fold laundry. Zone 4, connection. The connection zone is the time of day when you are at your best to connect with people. This is when you block the time to make calls, send emails, hang out, go on those dates, and just to connect with other people. Overlap. Many of your zones will overlap, so it's important to prioritize what you will block according to your goals. Identify when these zones exist for you, then block them out to complete the tasks that are best served by your energy level. If you see here, zone 1, for me, high energy, is from 4 o'clock in the morning to 9. When did that exist for you? Zone 2, creative, for me, is 7 o'clock in the morning to 11. This is when I'm really gonna do my typing and my thinking. Zone 3 are my mindless activity zones. For me, it's from 12 o'clock to 2 o'clock. You know, that time that we all need an extra cup of coffee. And zone 4 is connection time. If you know me well, you know I love people and connecting with people. I get energy from people. I say that I'm a peopler and I love peopling. But by 6 o'clock in the evening, I'm done. And so I really don't want to connect with anybody after 6. What times do your zones match up for you? This is going to be important for you to do, so make sure you take the time to do it. Like I gotta rub my, come on, baby, you can do it. Batch and block my time. Block my time. So to start with, at the beginning of the year, I have a session with my strategic planner and consultant. It absolutely is the most valuable time of my whole entire year. And if you would like to invest that for you, you can find that information at the end of this presentation. But I spent a couple of days dreaming and strategizing and thinking about what I want to accomplish in my own business for the year. After I've done that work, along with the assistance of my strategic planner and consultant, she helped me formulate those ideas into my quarterly report or quarterly view. So we broke everything down and viewed it so that it just progressed through the year. From the quarterly view, I took those items and then I placed them into a monthly view. So this is March, so this is where I'm going to evaluate at the end of this month. But as you can see, I call these theme days, I have on here different things that I'm going to work on that day. This is my focus of what I'm going to accomplish. I have this by my desk at both my office and at home because I want to be able to have a quick glance view and get to work. So from my monthly view, I then create my weekly view. And I keep my weekly view, break it down in more detail into my planner. I have to admit that I have not yet found a planner I'm in love with, so maybe it's up to me to create it. But I like this planner because it has in it a section for my big threes. Big threes is a great tool. I use it all the time. I use it for myself personally. I use it in my marriage with my husband, and I use it at work with my staff. So for big threes, you just focus on the big three things that you're going to accomplish this week. We share it, and that allows each other to hold not only each other accountable, but to provide resources and encouragement to move that ball further down the field. You can see I have some block sessions here, but this here, and this is block sessions where I'm focusing on this one thing, but this block of time is a batch. I batch this block. This is all things new volunteers. So I focus on processing and onboarding and communicating and entering all the data in the database and connecting with other staff members about new volunteer placements. So this is batch for 2 hours on Monday. But from my weekly view, then I create a to-do list. And I want to spend a bit of time here because I'm going to encourage and invite you to do the same thing. Do a to-do list every single day. On this to-do list, I put everything on it. I just slap everything on here, from what I want to accomplish in my business, at work, to my family, from proposals to dental appointments. And then if I can, and I'm thinking about it, I kind of go into deeper tasks. So these are batches here. I'm going shopping. You do this anyway, right? You batch your shopping trips. You go out one time if you have to do several stores. And this is nothing fancy. This is just a misprinted piece of paper. Whenever I have a bunch, I just cut them in half. I bind or clip them together, and I keep them around the house. But on my batch, on my paper with my to-do list, when I'm done putting everything on it, then yes, I do absolutely assign them zones. I just take them over to the other side. I put out my time zones, and then I put these items into the zones they belong. So I have my book through my creative time. I'm working out through my high energy time. Bless those people that can work out at night. That's not me. And believe it or not, I absolutely even cook my dinner during this time zone. I circled my batches just so that you can see. Pink is connection time, and so I batched all my connection time, my communication, which is emails this day. And I also have a Zoom meeting. I want to be fully me in those times. And then here's another batch of all things she. I finish my day at 6. I call that around the house commonly known as cats and kids time. Cats and kids time. It's between 6 and 6:30. I've already cooked, and I just take that meal out and I put it on the counter. I'm fortunate enough to have 4 teenage girls, so they can serve themselves and clean up afterwards. And I go upstairs at 7. And yes, for me, light is out at 8, but that's okay. I get up at 4. So I work this. This is what I do every single day. And I invite you to do the same, whether you're working from just being okay to great. Make sure that you are committed to doing this. All right. I have faith in you. You can do it. To land the plane on my final goal, I charge each of you to work with what you've got. If you are just okay at managing your time, make a commitment to create a daily to-do list and get good at completing it. If you're good at managing your time, level up by examining what tasks you can batch together. Determine the frequency of those batches, get them on your schedule, and do them. If you're great at managing your time, add to your schedule your time batches and blocks according to your energy identified zones to increase your overall productivity and success. As I shared before, If you have excellent time management skills, teach someone to be excellent as well. No matter where you are with managing your time, remember your accountability partner is your secret weapon on your road to success. One other thing, decide not to be one of those women who simply know more, but determine to be one who does more with what she knows. Be she. I am so grateful that you took the time to join our She April meeting. To find out more about She, look us up on our Facebook page, our new Facebook page. And up next, join us for our question and answering session.
All right, thank you, Amani. Okay, so I didn't see any questions pop up in the chat, but that's fine. If you have any immediate questions, go ahead and type those in, and we'll start with those before I open it up for just kind of open discussion. But I guess one question that I have for you all, if you wouldn't mind also putting that in the chat, is who has actually done batching or blocking before? Because I'd love to ask you to maybe speak to how that has worked for you, if you've had any success with it. So while you all potentially write any questions in, I also wanted to mention, because Amani at the very end mentioned accountability partner. So I think we've all kind of mentioned around it. So if you have a current accountability partner, because of the whole COVID-19, we were supposed to shift partners this quarter, but we are not. So we are going to retain our current accountability partners. If you do not yet have one, also let us know in the chat, and we will make sure to connect you with some as well. So I just wanted to mention that before we jumped into this also. So it looks like Alyssa has batch tasks. Let's see, Heather. I was talking about how tasks take longer than expected, but I know that some of them take less time, and that silly thought keeps me from getting things done, like thinking the dishes will take 30 minutes, but it only actually takes 6. I do that all the time. I will block like 20 minutes for something that took me a minute to do, and then I'll like not give myself enough time elsewhere. So I guess I'm going to pass that to you, Amani. How would you maybe address like not maybe being a little off in your approximation of how long something will take?
Well, I think the first thing is, again, giving yourself grace. I am at the complete opposite end of the spectrum. I always put several things on my to-do list, thinking things will only take 1 minute. And, and I'm like, well, this will take 5 minutes if I do these 4 things, and then 15 minutes in. One of the things that I had to do for me, because that was just a constant, I always said that I was an overachiever, was that I picked the 3 things. That's why Big 3 worked so well for me. What were the big 3 things that I needed to get done? And if I got those things done in a block, then anything left over was extra time for me. I think also that going through that of putting too much on my to-do list was another reason why I put in margin, that makeup block. I would stop work at 2 and then look, and what else did I need to, that I put on my to-do list that was a priority that I didn't get done, and then I had a good margin of time to put it in. So to speak specifically about the other end of the spectrum of not doing something because you think it's going to take longer, that's not really a perspective I had. So does anybody who has worked through that, does anybody have a suggestion that could be of assistance?
Something that I've learned when I've started doing the Big 3 is that the crucial tasks that in my day of like, if it gets to 8 o'clock at night and I realize I didn't do that, I'm going to like, that's going to be a really important thing that I didn't accomplish that. I realize oftentimes those things don't actually take that much time. Like oftentimes the crucial tasks, it's like, wow, that I accomplished that really important item today, and it really only took me half an hour to complete. That's something that I've learned. But yeah, I think to all of your points, it's like when I'm dreading cleaning up the kitchen, it only takes me, it takes 40 minutes or whatever, and it's such a big win. But like putting away the laundry, I'm like that. I was dreading doing that, and it only took me 20 minutes. So that's kind of my little way in.
Thank you. Anybody else? I love how we both have, well, not we both, but we as ladies have different perspectives. We're like, we don't want to do it because it's going to take us too long, or I'm going to do it all because it's only going to take me 2 seconds. So I love how we all bring all those perspectives together.
Okay, so we have actually a few people who have done batching and blocking. Liz did. Pamela also said, I think I saw, but it's hard to make it a habit. Alyssa also suggested the book called When by Daniel Pink, if you're interested in the idea of zones. So that's a good resource. Liz says, I think I'm a time optimist. Same. I am habitually late to things, and I tell my friends all the time, I'm like, it is not at all because I don't value your time. I just try to fit about 2 weeks of stuff into a 5-minute period. So I am the same. Don says, I batch my Facebook posts for my companies, the Alphabet Photography and the Auto Repair Shop, currently using Ripple.com, which the premium is free for this month. Thank you. That's a huge resource as well. I think a lot of, especially, I mean, we could get into a whole discussion about algorithms and everything, but I think Facebook also allows you to schedule posts now for general business pages and groups, which I think they obviously are this huge company, so they see a big value in batching. You can use, there's a lot of external apps, which I know algorithms don't necessarily love, but yeah, so I think a lot of companies are realizing there's value in that. The big three use it for the day and for the week. I am good at scheduling batch and block execution of a habit. Yep, same Pamela. So I think making it a habit is definitely difficult. Facebook Creator Studio to schedule posts for Facebook and Instagram, also a good resource. And Don had a question about accountability partners, I think. Yes, we will address that for sure. We have more people, so that'd be great. And Liz would also, you don't have an account. I'm making an assumption that you want one, so perfect. Okay, so I think too, maybe one question I have is, what do you do if you have a zone or a block potentially where you don't have enough to fill that? What do you do with the spare time? Or if you have too much in that block, you mentioned the makeup or the buffer block, but do things kind of roll over to the next day, or how do you address that?
So I love that because you just talked about two very different things. So I'm going to take one thing at a time. What I'm going to tackle first is the zones. And so, ladies, it's really important to me, just who I am as a person. because our time, the hats we wear, our time is so valuable. And I don't want to be a waster of time. I'm constantly saying in our meetings when we get together with it's got to have value. It's got to have value. And I'm grateful that I'm with ladies that completely agree. So with that, what I really am charging you to do is don't walk away from this presentation without doing one thing. So in that charge, I want to start with zones. Take the time to identify your zones. There are 4 levels, and I love that Alyssa shared that book. But this is all stuff I have done just because this is how I do live my life. So these zones that I've introduced, they're not in a book, they're what works for me. So what I said in the presentation is that you have to identify these zones for you. Where are your high energy zones? I have people, like most of my kids, they are like hugely awake and ready to go at 8, 9 o'clock. I have to train them. Don't ask me a question. Don't talk to me. If you want a yes, a uh-huh, a maybe, don't talk to me after 7. So, but know your zone. So please, today, identify where your zones are. Write the zones down, put times next to them, and then order your day according to your zones. So that's one thing that I do charge you to do. Okay? And I think naturally, you're going to be doing some of these things anyway. Now, that's one thing, zones. Now let's address the blocks. Blocks are not about completing tasks. Blocks is a time frame, boundaries you put around time to work on something. So if you are putting together blocks of time, you're going, and remember in the presentation I said, there lies the rub, because people want to get it done. So if you're working on an assignment, a presentation, for Dawn, it could be a beautiful piece. If you're working on a project, you're going to work on it on these blocks. My recommendation is put like 2 or 3 blocks in a week and see how it feels to do that. Dawn, you're experienced in how long it takes you to complete a project. So how long does it take you, Dawn, to complete a project of name like for 6 letters? One hour, 2 hours?
No.
There we go.
There's a lot of feedback because I send the proof back and forth, so, days.
Okay, days, good. And so then you're going to put those blocks of time in to do parts of that. Maybe that back and forth feedback, those are batches with your clients that you're going to go back and forth with just on feedback for this a certain amount of time on this day. So you're batching and blocking that activity. All to say that what do you do if you have leftover time? I don't know a lot of people like that. So I would take that tennis ball and I hit it right back to the people who have a lot of time. I would say you need a strategic planning session because you probably got a lot of great ideas inside you and you're not living up to your full potential. So I would say sit down and process what is inside of you, what is your calling for life, and develop a plan to get those out into the world. Because if you got a lot of leftover time, those aren't the people that I normally connect with. Now, if something takes less time to do, then fantastic. When I set up a to-go list, it's got everything on there. It's got my big projects, my big 3, but I still got to clean the toilets, right? So if you got a block of time where you're like, oh, I finished early, let me go and write this birthday card for my grandmother, or whatever you can fit into that extra time, I think that's what we as doers normally do. The goal is to be more productive than we would be if we just kind of vaguely walk through our days. So my big charges are: one, identify your zones. Two, what are you doing in your industry that you can batch together? And then three, start with, especially those who say, I've batched, because that's a little bit more normal, might not have words to it. But one block can you put on your schedule now that is protected time to work on your business? You guys have got some fantastic goals. Block those goals right now on your schedule. So I know that was a lot of words for that one question, but there was a lot of questions in that one statement.
Yep. I'm very much a rule follower. So once I say that I have like 1 hour to work on social media and I'm done in like 10 minutes, I'm like, what do I do with my hands? Like, I don't know. So I'm very much a rule follower. But yeah, I should probably send a card to my grandma or something. But okay. So I think now if anybody has any other questions, you can just unmute yourself and ask before we do a closeout.
If nobody has questions, if you do, I want to give you a question to think about before we close out. But if you have questions, please share it. But do my heart a gift and share what is one thing that you got from this presentation that you can see yourself doing.
For me, it's definitely just the zones. I make a to-do list, and I always have every day. The way my brain works, it doesn't get done if it's not on the to-do list. Even I don't know, something psychological. Even when I know it needs to be done, I often don't get to it if it's not on a piece of paper. And so I usually have, like a envelope that mail came in instead of throwing it out. And then I end up clipping it into my day planner because it only has some, like appointments and stuff. My to-do list kind of goes page to page. But I've never really thought about doing these kinds of things need to be done when I have the most, physical and emotional energy. These kinds of things need to be done at this part of the day when I don't really need to be that clued in or keyed in brain-wise and can have the TV on while I do dishes or, fold laundry or whatever. I haven't thought about that. And I think that would help a lot because oftentimes I get to the end of the day and a lot of my to-do list is done, but I'm tired or I'm scrambling at the end or things get rolled over to the next day. And I don't always feel like I took charge of my day. Like, I was kind of putting out fires and I feel like I'm not always getting ahead, if that makes sense. So I think that like identifying the zones and plugging some of those tasks into the zones will help me like get ahead rather than just kind of treading water, like, all right, the dishes are done, the laundries are done. I responded to the emails, but oh my gosh, I didn't have any time left to, create new content because I was busy with all of this. So, but like you said at the beginning of your presentation, there was tons of interruptions in there and wasted time that, if I had thought about it more carefully when I had the most energy or the most brain power, I maybe could have gotten some of that done, knowing that some of the other tasks would come later in the day, rather than just a scramble to get my list checked off, if that makes sense.
Absolutely.
I agree with that. And I have a really bad habit of just trying to power through something, even if it's not the task that my brain wants to be doing right then. Like I'm taking a digital marketing class, and the other day I was trying to do my homework and it was something that just wasn't clicking. And I spent like 4 hours just plodding through something that probably should have taken an hour and a half if I had just waited and done it the next day when I was fresher.
In your right zone.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can very much relate to that. I feel like I know for myself that I am a night owl, and that is when my creative juices are like flowing. And I tried to tell my boss that I am like more productive afternoon, but but I think it's an efficiency thing for sure, because I could do my mindless tasks during the morning, and probably feel a lot better and not feel as anxious, or maybe not necessarily like as because you beat yourself up over it. You're like, oh, I should be able to do this, but it's really hard to be operating outside of your ideal zone. So I think for me, batching is something that I'm very good at. I like the efficiency of doing similar tasks all together before shifting your mindset to something else. So I enjoyed that. The zones, I think I'll definitely need to do more assessment on, and try to fit tasks into those more efficiently.
Yeah, it's interesting you say that. Batching, I like. Blocking, I've given blocking a good try, and a lot of times it feels arbitrary to me, and I've learned that that's just part of like my personality. Like I generally do time block things, but in general the concept, it doesn't work as well for me, but I see the value in it. But I've shifted to something new recently, because I'm very creative at night, but I am like a high energy person in the morning. So what I've tried doing is I've actually shifted my schedule to being more at night. So I do like writing or working in the evenings, and it's been working well. But something that I've been figuring out is, okay, when's the sweet spot to go to bed so I don't lose all of that high energy time in the morning? Because I really do still like the mornings, but nighttime is like, I get a lot of energy in the nighttime, and that tends to be when I can like actually buckle down and get some work done. So that's been interesting.
All right. So I think this has been an excellent meeting. Thank you so much, Amani, for jam-packing that with all the good information that we obviously need. Time management has absolutely been something that since even last year people have been requesting. I think it's something like we all struggle with. So always looking for those tips and tricks to do it better and stick with it. So thank you. And we will be posting the recording of this on the new page for Facebook by the end of the week. And so if you want to revisit the presentation or any of the questions, we'll have them for you there. The current contest is posted there, and then contest number 2 will be posted later today. If you haven't yet, contact Amani, Heather, and I if you're brand new, and we'll get you your welcome package. And for those who requested accountability partners, we'll also pair you up. So we'll be contacting you shortly to do that. And just some general information about how accountability partners, we ask that at minimum you reach out in whatever medium you would like. Email, phone calls. We can't really meet in person at the moment, but you can do Zoom calls at least once in between our monthly meetings, but you can absolutely do more. I actually got an audio message from my accountability partner while we were on this call. So I'm going to be accountable for her and ask her where she was. So just kind of stay in touch, and it's completely up to you all how you structure that. Yeah, so we will be in touch with all of that information. But thank you all so much for joining us. And if you think of any other questions after the fact, let us know. And just final note, I know I have like 7 of those. If there's any way during this time that we can help or support you, whether it's resources, information, just a sounding board to, toss some ideas off of, please let us know, because we would love to do that for you guys. Yes, Amani.
And just to wrap up for me, I really would invite everybody to head on over to our Facebook page and check out Shelley's video for the quarterly assessment. It is, and I know a couple of y'all were on it and have seen it, but especially, every part of it's great, but especially towards the end where she just chuck-loads the end of that presentation there with a ton of information that is so beneficial. So it's only good stuff and it's free. So I just really want y'all to take advantage of it, work through it. It's only going to benefit you. So please go through there and work it out.
Thank you. Yeah. All right, ladies, have a wonderful Wednesday and rest of your week, and we'll talk to you soon.
Bye, guys.
Bye, everybody.